Hi, Job Club students. This is Dylan. We're back for our third lesson for Job Club Project Proven Employment. I think you all know me by this point. Colin, I'll turn it over to you. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello again. It's Colin Wallace, Project Proven Manager. Glad to be back.
Great. And today we have the pleasure of introducing and of having with us Majel Hein, who's with Marine Credit Union Foundation. Majel, would you like to introduce yourself and the organization that you work for?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, my name is Majel Hein. I work for the Marine Credit Union Foundation. Been with the foundation since February 2018. Before that, I ran consumer credit counseling service of La Crosse for almost 4 years, so a local nonprofit in the area that helps people with financial education. But I always share that I think the most important piece of my experience is before that. I actually worked in the restaurant industry for 12 years, where I struggled with my own financial issues that were actually caused by addiction issues. I've had the 490 credit score, been sued, been evicted, been arrested, had quite a bit of exciting things happen to me, and it just fuels my passion for my job that this is totally, finances is something you can control and you can move forward from, and I'm living proof of that. So to be able to share is really exciting. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Well, we're super glad to have you. Majel, we'll jump right into our questions. I think you already answered the first one, just telling us a little bit about yourself and your own history, which is amazing. We'll jump to this one. We'll get right into it. How does someone budget on a limited income?
Budgeting. First off, I hate the word budgeting. So often people correlate budget to diet, right? And then diet, you think of, I have to eat carrots for the next month in order to lose weight, those types of things. So when somebody is trying to just get in control of their money and know what's going on, I like to use the word spending plan. So if we have a limited income, well, there's no magical way out of debt. We either increase income or decrease expenses, but it's about figuring out what's going on. So what is coming in and what is everything going out? And it doesn't matter what that is. You have your fixed bills, rent, electric bill, car payment, whatever is going out. And then we have the other stuff, such as life. We eat out on occasion. We might smoke. We might have a storage unit or childcare, all those other things that are going out, life. So being able to look like what is coming in and what's going out is going to be a great starting point, and then you could just kind of figure it out from there. We were just talking about this. Sometimes there's people that get a little judgy, like, why are you spending money on these types of things? And it makes us not want to talk about finances. And when you go to a financial counselor, such as myself at the Marine Credit Union Foundation, or there's Consumer Credit Counseling of Service of La Crosse, Catholic Charities, they're working with you at where you're at. This is about finding a path for you and a realistic type of spending plan. It's not about living in restriction on a box, on a budget. So I wish that there was a black and white answer, but there just isn't. It's about you and your habits and what you want to do with your money. So reaching out to those resources, or sitting down and writing it down and then reaching out to those resources, is a great starting point.
And we love how individualized Majel, and even consumer counseling credit, but how you really take into account everyone's individual situation. You're not overly, there's not, like you said, there's no one size fits all for making a spending. So that's one of the things we've always really loved about Majel. She's seen it all. Well, I guess almost seen it all.
I see new things every day.
You see new things, right? So yeah, but so that's you never have to worry about any type of friction or feeling judged, because, like I said, she's seen it all. So that's why we love working with Majel. And one of the things also that Majel is really good at is telling you what the heck a credit score is, how you can improve your credit score and get a credit report, why they matter, all those fun things. Majel me and others out who are confused by credit?
Credit is definitely a thing, right? If you just don't know what you don't know, or there's Credit Karma out there, which has one score, right? And we feel that we want to go with that one, but in reality, Credit Karma actually isn't the FICO score that a financial institution uses. And I guess to make this as concise as possible, if we're talking about credit, we have credit score, credit report. If anybody, I might be dating myself, but has ever seen the movie Field of Dreams, you know, if you build it, they will come. You build the baseball field, all the dead baseball players are going to walk out of the cornfield and come play baseball. If you fix your credit report, if you start working on this, the credit score is going to come with it. So addressing your credit report is the place to certainly start. And sometimes that's like reading a second language if you don't know how to read a credit report. So again, reaching out to those resources, or there are some pretty user-friendly credit reports on annualcreditreport.com. You can actually pull from each bureau every 12 months. So like I rotate and pull mine every 4 months from each bureau, TransUnion, Experian, Equifax, and then you kind of game plan what's going on. What are my collections that I have out there? What are the debts that I've been late on? Because if you don't know what's happening on your credit report, well, how in the world are you supposed to fix it and move forward? You just need a starting point. I don't care how long your credit report is. The longest credit report I've seen to date is 147 pages. So, and that was completely beyond the person's control, lots and lots of medical debt. So you can even move forward from that. You just need to know where you're starting. But once we're game planning what debt is out there, if there is debt out there, well, then we start working on the other things that go into the score that come with the fixing the debt. But then there are also other 3 tips that I give when it comes to your credit score, and that's behavior change. You can't continue being late on payments or those types of things and expect to have our credit score increase. So working on that spending plan and figuring out what works for you. So behavior change, time. 70% of your credit score is only the last 2 years. So that is not a lot of time really in the scheme of things. It's only 2 years, 24 months. If you have that behavior change and that time in place, it's just going to start rising naturally. And then getting some credit building tools out there, like open-ended lines of credit that are available to you, a CD secured loan that we'll talk about here in a little bit. Getting some active on-time payments is going to start rising that credit score. So behavior change, time, use of credit building tools is going to help you move forward and get in control of that.
Well, I just want to follow up quick here, Dylan, before you ask the next question, because so just to clarify for everyone, we get 3 free credit reports for a year from if we go on to annualcreditreport.com. You get 1 from each of the 3 major players. So, so 1 each from those, but you can get 3 total throughout the year, and then it resets the next year, right? You get 3 more in 2021. So there, got that. And then the other thing I get the question so often is how quick is it going to take me to build up my credit score? Well, I think you kind of gave us a really good starting point. At least 70% of your credit score is determined in the past 2 years. So you can really make some serious progress in just a 2-year window. So, and even less than that, but just think about that, 70% over 2 years. So, if you're thinking right now, like, oof, this is ugly, in October 2022, you could be singing a new tune and getting all kinds of great, rates on loans if you're looking to buy a new car or looking to buy a house.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. Like I said, if it's one thing you have control over, it's your finances. Sometimes it doesn't feel that way though, and to back up and look at it as just a realistic problem-solving issue. I mean, it is what the effort that you're willing to put into it.
Nice. Thank you, Majel. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Let's jump. So we talked a little bit about spending plans, a little bit about credit. I want to talk about saving money. So I think most financial counselors will say, save money, have an emergency fund. Can I ask you, what is the best way to save money? And specifically, what's the advantage of using a checking account, maybe as opposed to saving in cash?
Uh, well, first I'll address the saving money piece, right? A lot of people hear out there that you're supposed to save 10% of your income, right? And it is, guess what, very individualized. It's not a black and white answer. So I ask people to we'll come back to the spending plan, right? And assess what you're really able to shave off or save in a month, and let's commit to that. I don't care if it's even $10 or $50. What happens sometimes is we want to save and we might have this 10% in our head and we get really aggressive, and then we pull back out and then we lose motivation. So then we just pull back out again because we're spending money because it makes us feel better. There's a lot of mental stuff that goes into spending money as well. So if you can figure out for sure every month, I'm going to save $10, well, that does a lot, because this will lead into the other question. And I know you guys have heard this story before, but it's one of my favorites. I was working with a single mom who had a relationship at a local credit union over when I was at Consumer Credit Counseling Service. She didn't have the best credit score in the world, in like the mid 500s, mid high 500s. And she had some collections out there, and her minivan broke. Van broke down. Single mom has a broken vehicle. Little bit of an emergency. We need to get kids where they need to go. So what she ended up doing was going back to this local credit union and saying, this is an emergency. I need a new vehicle. Like, this one's going to cost more than it's worth. And that financial institution was able to see on her credit report that her collections were getting smaller, that she was trying. They weren't paid off, but they were getting smaller. And they were also to turn around and look at her accounts that she had with them. And they had seen over the last 5 months, she had been able to save $50. So $10 a month, $50. And she had a positive checking account. Those things combined was enough for them to see behavior change, trust her, and get her into an emergency vehicle loan that was going to help her move forward. Most often people don't think $10 a month matters, and it really does. And that checking and savings matter because that's the relationship you're building with the people that are going to give you a loan in the first place. And it's going to help you move forward into homeownership, all those types of things.
And I think that's a really good lead in to we mentioned the CD secured loan a little bit earlier. You talk about that, and then also kind of a cool program you guys are doing at Marine.
Yeah, a CD secured loan, and for anybody who's not familiar with what like a CD is, it isn't a CD that plays music. It's a certificate of deposit, and it's like a locked savings account at a financial institution. And what it is that financial institution will actually loan you money. So they loan you $1,000, and then it goes into this locked 12-month term CD. So you have a loan, but you can't get to it for 12 months. They didn't give you any money, so there's no risk for anybody. And then over that year, you make your loan payment, building your credit history. And then after that 12-month year-long period of time, not only have you built that credit history, you've also saved $1,000. So it's like this forced savings account that builds your credit at the same time. It's a really incredible tool that is, again, no risk to a financial institution. Marine Credit Union, which of course the foundation is very close to Marine Credit Union, the financial, they actually offer a really great product called Get Credit. And you can open it up online and everybody is approved. You just go in and fill out the information, fill out the security questions to prove that you are you. And they're going to not only open you up a CD secured loan, I think it's a $500,000 or $1,500 based on the payment that you can afford. That's the piece of it that I love. You're addressing what can I save every month. And then they're also going to open up a checking and savings account right along with that. So you can have that relationship with a financial and some credit going on out there if it isn't happening already.
Wow. Wow, that's an amazing product. Thank you for that, Majel.
Yeah.
I want to touch on home ownership for a second. Colin and I have had several conversations just about how few proven students own their own home and how really home ownership can help break long-term cycles of, I guess, income disparities or break long-term cycles of poverty. So I'm wondering if you can just touch on what is the advantage of owning a home? And I'm also wondering if you can touch on your program called Finding Home.
Sure, absolutely. So you're right. Homeownership is absolutely attached to financial stability. You start building equity and wealth by owning your own home instead of just paying the landlord rent. So there's the other caveat to that, though. If you're not financially well to fix something that goes wrong with your house, that perhaps we still need to be in a place to rent until you're in a more financially secure situation. But homeownership is just a really great foundation where you know where your pillows every night. There's a lot of stability that's starting there, and then we can just lift up from there. You know who your neighbors are. Just having those relationships in general helps somebody mentally, which will in turn help you financially. I would encourage, there's actually a free class through CooleyCap, their home buyer education class. They're doing it virtual right now, where we're all, as they say, living the dream in quarantine, but people can attend that class. And CooleyCap goes into really in-depth, it's 6 to 8 hours about really how do you buy a home, the advantages of home ownership and renting, and they just take a huge deep dive. So it's a great resource for people. And Finding Home, it has a great partnership with CooleyCap. So that is the program that I designed and run through the Marine Credit Union Foundation, and it's meant to fill the gap. So there are tons of mortgage products, programs, services that already exist out there. And Finding Home is designed to help families that don't fit into those boxes, as you hear me say. They're able to enter Finding Home. It's a 12 to 18 month long counseling program. But once you complete all the requirements, it's worth something to hang out with me for that long because it's guaranteed home ownership when you're done. The foundation actually steps in and makes sure they put their money where their mouth is and make sure that a mortgage is in place for a family that graduates, and it is at the best interest rate on the market. So people aren't getting into like 12% interest houses. They're getting into reasonable interest rates and what fits into their spending plan. I would just encourage anyone who's thinking about homeownership, it's free to schedule some time with me because sometimes we just don't know what we don't know. And more often than not, actually, we meet with a family that isn't aware that they already qualify for something or that there's a better option for them. I was just going through the stats with my boss. I think I've counseled like 93 families, and 67% of them we've been able to connect to home ownership in that first appointment.
Wow.
So just giving them that information, you know, because a lot of people want to be a homeowner. How do you make it happen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and just to clarify for everybody listening to this, so you're listening here, you're thinking like, oh my God, everything Majel's telling me, like, yes, where can I sign up for all this? Majel there's no cost of working with just reaching out to you. There's no cost to you. She will offer all of her wealth of knowledge for free. And that if you're thinking, well, okay, but like she's kind of with Marine and I bank at Ultra or I bank at, somewhere else. So I don't think I can really work with her. That's not true. Or like now I need to switch everything over to Marine. That is not true. Majel, though she was saying earlier, Marine, she works for the Marine Credit Union Foundation, which is separate from the Marine Credit Union. So don't feel like you need to be banking there to work with Majel. She will work with anyone. And even she has helped so many of our students with, that if they're how to get out, like, help me, who do I call? How do I get out of this? Student loans, child support, arrears, all these different types of things. You've really been, a huge part of so many success stories, that, in my short time here with Project Proven, I've seen, but over the course of the time you've been there, I mean, it's tenfold.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I love what I do and I want to be able to help in any way that I can.
Yeah, and so I know, and I kind of went off. Sorry, Dylan, I went off script there. And I think we've touched on quite a few of the programs that would be helpful. think. Is there anything that we're missing? If you're thinking like, oh, we forgot to talk about this that I think would be super beneficial to.
I don't think so. We mentioned consumer credit counseling service, Catholic Charities, Cooley Cap and their home buyer program, me finding home, or just a general financial analysis. Those are some really great local programs that people can reach out to. And local is larger than just lacrosse. I'll just put that out there, right? So I have worked with students much farther out in the radius. Like for CCCS, they help anybody in the state of Wisconsin or Minnesota. And I help Wisconsin, Minnesota, Iowa, and Illinois.
Nice. Nice. Thank you, Majel. And a few different ways just to clarify the contact information piece. You can message us directly by Facebook, Project Proven Job Club, or Project Proven at Western Technical College. You can message us on Facebook. We'll hook you up with Majel. You can also search Marine Credit Union Foundation on Google. I'd imagine they'll get to you, Majel. Any other ways that they can reach you that you want to throw out there?
Well, hey, you can send them my contact information, but I can just give my phone number, 608-791-1385.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. And Majel, we'd like to close like this. One of our favorite success stories is your story. That's in part why we wanted to interview you right away. What is your favorite success story?
You know, when you sent me that, I was like, oh, that's such a great question. Because it's such an honor and pleasure to be, you know, part of somebody's success, right? The cool thing about my job is I'm a support system. I'm not doing anything. I'm there to watch someone work hard and make their story happen. It's all them. And you guys can appreciate this as well. We're there as just that support system and the cheerleader in the corner. I might be a little bit more pithy than every other cheerleader though. But I can think of a couple. So, this is certainly a success story in the making. A Project Proven student that we're working with some child support arrears and moving forward towards home ownership. It's just really been a pleasure and honor to watch that student make it happen. That's always exciting to be a part of. So I can't wait to see what it looks like in the next 6 months as we continue to work with that person. And then there was also another family that really sticks into my head, which is actually a graduate of Finding Home. She spent 15 months in the program with me, a single mom of 6, who had actually fled a domestic violence situation. And really the first 6 months of the program were really, really hard for her, because just leaving that type of relationship where you had no control and now you have all the control, she just felt like spending was her thing. It was an emotional thing. It was, I have control, I'm going to do what I want to do. And it was just really wonderful to watch that shift in her as she tried to find what worked for her, because it is all individual. And she finally found that system that allowed her to save and get in control and do the things that she needed to do to get into a house for her and her 6 kiddos. And she graduated the program in March and has her first house, raised her credit score 101 points over those 15 months. Saved almost $8,000 and paid off $5,000 in debt, and she's still rocking it. And just giving her those tools to be able to make it happen is just I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. It's a great story for me. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Majel. I think with that, we'll close out our interview. Colin, anything to add?
No, I want to thank Majel so much for being here and just for work with us in general. And I encourage everyone to use Majel. My wife and I I can speak firsthand, like she's incredibly helpful. So any need or question you have and you just want to bounce it off of her, just to hear it from somebody else, you know, she is a great starting point, and I couldn't recommend it more.
Oh, thank you. Means a lot. And thanks for having me.
Yep. Thank you. All right. Bye.